Tell people a little bit about what you do and what is about your profession and what you built.
So Kim and I started Innisfree Hotels back in 1985. We had one hotel that I got 100% financed, and because I didn't have any money, and it worked. I mean, the hotel made money, and so we just added one hotel after another. Now we're, based on revenue, the 20th largest hotel company in the United States. And we did that, I think, because we made a fundamental decision at the time that we were not going to build a company like the one I came from, and I came from Hyatt, the world of Hyatt. And I think it's still largely true today, everybody has this kind of wall between being who you are and being a professional. And the idea that you could bifurcate that at any level is a formula for insanity. I mean, ultimately, if you go down that road, you can't be two people. You can only be one. So we decided to build an organization that allowed people to feel their feelings at work in a safe environment. And so we started putting together tools that would allow us to do that. And we hired a director of culture that took this around to all the hotels, and we've repeated that now for over 35 years. And as a result, we have we have people that care for each other, that take care of each other. We put people first. The discussion is the guest more important than the staff? And the answer is the staff, because the staff create the environment and they create a culture of care, and that translates to the guests, and the guests feel it. It's a visceral experience. It's not just a bed. It's that experience that we're selling. And because they feel good about being themselves, authentically who they are, and being real, that translates to the guests. And the guests come back, and we end up having greater market share, less turnover, more loyalty, all the metrics. We talk about being a triple bottom line company. We measure people, planet, and profit. Actually, now it's turned into people, planet, and prosperity. Because we want everybody to prosper. And that's a formula that works. And we have more market share. We just passed $1 billion in assets this year. We try to become community leaders by giving back. We're involved in some terrific social action programs, and it's just a wonderful environment. So my stepping back really is moving more into managing our foundation that we created recently and focusing on becoming a legacy company. And
I want you to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I know that you and Kim have plans that are, I think I know only of one or two other companies that they have this kind of a plan of how to basically give away what you have built. So share that with us.
So, and this, people like you that are on these short horizons and buying and selling and, all this, we're complete opposites, you and I, in that respect.
I don't sell, I just buy.
Oh, okay. So we don't sell, we just buy. And so that we have in common. But we decided we'd become a legacy company. And what that means is that we're not going to monetize this and get a pile of money and start giving it away or whatever. We're going to keep the people that we've curated for the last 35 years because we feel like there is more good that can be done with the people than the money. And if we have enough cash flow, then we can combine the two and make a huge impact in the communities that we're in. So it creates a whole, the permeations of that are huge because people know that they're stable, they can grow with the company. We continue to grow a little bit every year. We've got an 8% CAGR over the last 10 years. We've tripled, quadrupled, we've gone 600% in growth. Everything is moving in the right direction. But keep in mind, that's with hurricanes, oil spills, pandemic, when nobody showed up, by the way. Single-digit occupancy. You'd look at one hotel after another, 3% occupancy, 2% occupancy, 1%. And who knew when this was ever going to end? So all these things, this culture of care, everybody jumped in together and solved these problems. And I truly believe it's because we created this culture of care.
So what happens? One day, 50, 100 years from now, you're not with us. What will happen with your business?
What?
I know, I'm sorry. Somebody broke the news the other day that all of us will be gone at some point. So, but what, you seem shocked that you heard that.
I'm trying to take that in.
Yeah, so. I'm sorry. So what's the, what will happen to the business?
Yeah.
Is the whole thing is going to go into a foundation?
So we're giving all of our money away. I mean, it's all going back to the communities and to the foundation. Everything we've set up is all geared towards that. The kids will have enough money that they'll be comfortable, but they're not getting the business. That's in our view, a worn out model. Giving everything back to the communities that created our success is really where we want to go. And that, to me, is the way it should be. I mean, we should give everything away. And at the end of the day, you can't take it with you, and you can do all this great good. I mean, the idea that my epitaph would read that I built a whole bunch of hotels makes me sick.
Yeah.
The idea that we created community and we did it based on principles of the Baha'i religion.
Yeah.
makes all the difference in the world. Gives me purpose, and that's what we
had a
focus
conversation
on.
with Sean Hinton the other day. I love the way he put it. We can't take it with us, but maybe we can.
Well,
maybe we can, depending on what you do with it, right? That's the whole idea, that, money is, wealth is supposed to serve humanity. So if you use it for that, maybe you do take it with you.
Yeah. So the idea now is creating a board that has the principles that we've lived by over the years. But looking at that, you can only go one more generation. Yeah. And we've been involved with lots of nonprofits and created a bunch of those. And really, there's a point at which you have to kind of let go and let the board make that decision.
Yeah, that's true. So I know the answer, but I want people to hear it from you. What's the most number of hotels you've lost to hurricanes in a month?
I lost 10 hotels in one night. 10 hotels, yeah. It's
and then how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So
our website goes down for a day. We're panicking. Well, not a day. Sorry, Nima is in the audience for 2 minutes.
Yeah, we started going to Lloyd's of London. I personally started going to Lloyd's of London 15 years ago, and creating a relationship with all the different owners of our insurance policies. And it turns out, that's a really good thing. Relationships ultimately, and you can, social media, virtual, everything is working against that. Honestly, from one disaster to the next, and every opportunity has all been based on relationship. And it's no different at Lloyd's. You go in there and you tell them your story and that you're involved in the business, and you give them a good feeling about you not walking away from your assets, and we end up getting great insurance. So ultimately, it's insurance.
That's right.
A couple of them we just had to scrape off and start all over again.
So for those of you who know you, you are a Renaissance man, and you have been definitely a source of inspiration to me. And you are a pilot, and I think you've been a pilot since 16.
Yeah.
And am I not supposed to say that your first flight you didn't have license? Is that okay to say that?
Again, you can't say this stuff. It's all being recorded.
I think statute of limitation has passed.
But there was a power line involved.
There was a power line involved. There was an off-road landing. But those are all. But
when you're 16, you don't think.
You don't think about those things. You don't think that if you're a pilot and you're flying a plane, you're not supposed to pick up your friend on the side of the road. But anyhow,
it's another story.
All that aside. But you are the captain of a boat, a ship, a yacht, whatever you want to call it. You run many hotels. There's you have a foundation. And I know you have many other interests. I know that you are now one of the people behind a movie that will come out about Seals and Croft. So how do you manage all of these things? And by the way, right, backstage, before we came out, he says, let's do 50 push-ups. I'm like, okay. We did 38 push-ups, not 50.
I did 50.
You did 50?
Oh, yeah. I was going faster.
You were going faster. So, all right, well, how do you do all of that?
Genes, I don't know. It's just genes. I don't know. It really, honestly, it's genes. And,
Like, what's your routine? What can we all learn, from somebody who is on the go, CEO, entrepreneur? What is your routine? Like, how do you keep up that energy, that momentum?
I was going to say a clear conscience, but that doesn't really work. So I get it from my faith, and I get it from my wife, and having an amazing support that allows me to go out and do crazy things. And and some good things. And that energy, thank God I've got it. And, at some point it's not going to be there. So I don't know. I can't give you a good answer. It's just there.
I've been with many guys going, mountain biking with many people younger than me, younger than you, but you've been leading the group. And so I've seen you outdoors. I've seen, how you're able to keep up the momentum. So whatever you do is working.
So I think ADD plays a large role in that. You really don't know the consequences when you just jump off the cliff and then you try to figure out if you got your parachute.
or who pushed us.
And I think that's part of the success that we've enjoyed. We don't know what we don't know. And so you fortunately, in my case, had a great childhood with parents that gave me confidence to go out and trust the universe. And I really do feel like, walking the mystical path with practical feet is not a saying. I think it's a way of life. And that's how I approach life. And I approach life knowing that if I keep my mind and my spirit focused on the universe and knowing that there are opportunities out there, if I just focus on the path that God has laid out for me, then I'll bump into these opportunities. And people often say, Julian, that things always work out for you. Well, that's not true. I mean, I've got my pile of failures that I learned from. But I do believe that these opportunities that come up are because I'm always looking for them. I'm always holding space open for them and not having a formula for success, a plan for expansion. These opportunities, if you open yourself up to the universe and trust that the universe will take care of you, these opportunities are sitting out there waiting for you.
How did you or do you maintain unity with abundance of controversial and divisive topics when allowing for feelings at work?
Wow. So there's a formula, and I'll send you our culture book. If y'all just use the app and ask me to send it, or maybe you'll send it out to everyone. But our culture book, and for those that were not here yesterday when I spoke briefly about it, we embrace this whole idea of transactional analysis as a basis for creating interpersonal relationships in a safe environment. And so we talk about building a stroke economy. And a stroke, for those that don't know it, is a unit of recognition. And this whole transactional analysis approach to dealing with each other and cleaning up these hundreds of transactions that you have every day. If you have a model and you have some training that goes along with it, you can take your vision statement, your mission statement, way beyond the poster in your employee break room and apply it to your day-to-day interaction so that people can have these tough conversations. So there are rules for doing that. And we take those rules and we train our people on how to have these difficult conversations. And anything is on the table. Anything is on the table. And if you have these rules in place and you're actually using them, you'll find that it opens up the opportunity to have these conversations because it begins with trust. And that's the point I was trying to make yesterday. We build trust. Everything is foundational from trust. Trust is the foundation. So build from trust. And then anything is possible. But that has to be in place. You can't earn it with a degree. You can't have it with a title. You can't have it because of your gender or your age or your nationality. It has to be earned, and it has to be created through this, what we've created, I think, at Innisfree, through this culture of care with the tools, giving the tools to allow these difficult conversations to happen.
Next question. What's your biggest failure?
I think, I don't know if it's a failure, but I think there's a level of attachment that can easily become your greatest failure. It's easy to talk about the successes in your life, and it's great to champion those people that we look up to that have done great things. But it's also, I think, very important to become detached. And that attachment, my biggest failure, I think, is my attachment to people, to seeing potential wasted. It just crushes me. And being attached to the possibility that this person can have great things if they only focus on those aspects of being in this world that will create more energy, more life, and the spiritual aspect of all this has to be highlighted. And to the degree that you turn away from that, the potential of that individual, and I see it in individual personal relationships, family, and professionally. And it just crushes me to do that. So I think being attached to what I think that potential is a real failure for me. I sometimes set those expectations too high.
Yeah, I hear you on that. We all have many of those. Many of those failures, but I know you're not that active on social media, but on social media specifically, we curate the best moments, so as though that's all we got. So there's a lot more there. Can you share about flying to New York City and around the world?
Oh, so I there's a joke that says, "How do you know there's a pilot in the room?" And the answer is they'll tell you. I mean, that's how you know. Pilots, for some reason, are really proud that they're pilots. So I'm a pilot.
I'm a pilot.
And so this airplane came out. Honda made the first jet, got into the jet business, and I'm a single pilot jet pilot. And Kim and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we were the first couple to fly the Honda jet around the world?
Okay, you said Kim and I. I really want to know, did Kim suggest that?
No.
Okay. Just want to clarify that. So
I won't tell you what she said.
Okay.
She said, what are you thinking? I mean, this is... But I mean, if you break it down, it's just small hops around the world, and ultimately you get around to the other side. So and it turns out they paid for it, so that worked out nicely. So and I think I sold 10 jets. So
wow.
we had salespeople meet us all around the world, and I would let them demo the airplane for their local customer base. But yeah, that was outstanding. And there's a web page, around the world in 80 stays, not days, stays. We're in the hotel business.
I was with my family in Greenland at some remote airport. So of course I called him, and he says, "Oh, go to wherever at the airport. There's a door and there's a sticker." I put that there. So, all right. What's your view on legacy? Is it important?
Yeah.
Why or why not?
It's huge, guys. I mean, think about this 5 to 7 year horizon that most equity wants to follow, because when you look at the IRR in businesses, it typically comes on the sale of that business, right? You have a cash flow, and that's lovely, and then you cap that cash flow, and then you sell the business, and there's your big pop. Well, that's the business that most equity firms are involved with. If you just disregard that and you create this idea of legacy, it really creates a level of security with all of your employees to know that they've got a basis for progressing their career. And if you expand the company, there's even more opportunity. So it changes everything. When we bring in equity partners, we cook into the agreement that we have the right to buy them out at whatever time they want to exit. So it affects the financing. It affects lenders. Lenders love us because they know we're not going anywhere, and so we've got lots of debt, and fortunately we got a lot of people that want to lend us money because they know we're not going anywhere. So it changes everything. The culture of the employees, the equity stack, either on the debt or the equity side, and it changes our senior management view of how they look at the company, because they know that they have a future as long as they want to stay there.
As a founder, at what point did you realize you need to step away?
Oh, I'm old, man. I mean, I'm ancient. I'm really ancient. And I think it just became too much at one point. There's this great book written by Larry Miller, who's Laley Miller Murrow's father, called Barbarians to Bureaucrats. And it was pivotal in my thinking of how to approach business. And he shows how every barbarian ultimately has to become a bureaucrat because of growth. And there's a point in time where that barbarian's talents are really not they're not as effective as when you started the company, right? Because then you have to get into policies and procedures. And I'm not great at policies and procedures. I'm going to go out and conquering the next deal, right? So that happened. I mean, it started to wear on me, and I knew that if I was going to take the company to a legacy company, I had to step back and bring someone else in that has got that experience. So I brought the number 3 person in from Hilton Global, number 3 person, thinking that if he accepted the principles behind our philosophy, then I had a good CEO. And it turns out he's better than I am. I mean, it's really quite good.
Wow, that's a really good feeling when you know that your company is in truly good hands.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you wish everyone in the world knew?
Period?
That's the question.
We're human beings. We're not human doings. We have to recognize that the essence of everything that we're doing here in this very limited time is temporal. I think to the degree that you recognize that, then you'll have a fulfilled life, and you'll open up the universe to everything that you have available to offer it. I wish people understood that. I wish that they understood that this is a continuum, that we came into, and we're on our way out onto the infinite. And I think once that kind of realization comes into view, everything changes. And it's just like starting with trust. That's one of these fundamental building blocks. That if you don't have that inculcated into how you are in the world, then all your decisions become crazy. From marriage to, for God knows whatever reason, to how you raise your kids, to how you connect with your family, and how you run your business. I think it all kind of fundamentally goes back to that realization that we're spiritual beings, just temporarily in this body that going towards the infinite.
Final question. What's one advice that you have for your 10-year-old self?
My 10-year-old self?
Yeah.
Put some shoes on. I would come home with one shoe, and and my mom would go like, "Really? Again?" I think at 10 years old, that's kind of where I was. I had these dogs that all the neighborhood dogs loved me, and I was like the 4th kid. So after 3 kids, you as a parent, you kind of, you're tired. You just want to go do something else. And so I felt like I kind of raised myself, but me and these dogs would have we would have these picnics, and finally I said, "Mom, can I have friends what can talk?" And so I would tell myself to get some real people, to talk to.
That's good. I came to the U.S., when I was 17, no parents around, and so, just growing up in the U.S., it was difficult to have a network of people. And one of the things if I could go back, I would redo would be having a mentor earlier on in life. And I'm grateful that I have you as a mentor now. So thank you.
Think of sharing what you know.